Look, I would love to upload another video, but, like, it's winter break, and I mean, the election is over. There can't possibly be any interesting news out right now, so I might as well just catch up on some reading. Well, that's. Um. I'll get to work, yeah. Hello, everybody. Atlas here. I hope everyone enjoyed the holidays. Obviously, not all of us are blessed with tolerant family members, especially those of us in the LGBTQ community. So, at the very least, I hope everyone made it out okay. On Tuesday, President-elect Donald Trump held a press conference at Mar-a-Lago, making it very clear that his second term in office will be much worse than the first.
Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
He's not even in office yet, and it feels like we're already in the middle of 2017 again. Holy shit. Before we get into today's video, I want to briefly talk about Palestine. I know it's been over a year now since October 7th, but the genocide still rages on in the Gaza Strip. The official death toll in Gaza is nearing 46,000 people, but obviously we know that the actual death toll is far higher. If you're looking for ways to help, obviously stay educated and keep talking to people about Palestine, but you can also go to Operation Olive Branch, which will be linked in the description below to help get aid directly to families on the ground in Gaza. Thanks and enjoy the video. America is an imperial power. That's a no-brainer. It's like saying the sky is blue. It's not a new revelation, at least to the people who are actually paying attention. America has been doing imperialism since the end of the 19th century, depending on how you define it. But there's like a difference between the blatantly obvious American colonialism during the early 20th century versus the softer imperialism we've seen since World War II, where instead of officially, colonizing countries, we just build 900 military bases around the world instead. Obviously, Trump saying he's willing to use military force to take control of Greenland and the Panama Canal is batshit insane, but what it really represents is this sort of mask-off moment for the United States of America. For the past couple of decades, America's foreign policy has been coldly calculated and supplemented with propaganda operations to kind of paint America's actions overseas as justifiable. We're invading this third world country to protect the free world and democracy, right? But Trump's rhetoric basically abandons that pretense entirely. He's saying, no, economic leverage and sanctioning and being allowed to build military bases wherever the hell we want isn't enough. If you don't give us these concessions, we're just going to invade your country and turn it into a colony. It's not only super nationalist and imperialist, it's also openly fascist. Now, European nations are speaking out against Trump's threats against Denmark and Greenland, but it remains to be seen if that actually means anything. But I definitely don't think the people of Greenland are going to enthusiastically vote to join the United States of America. It's not like Europeans are very keen on privatizing healthcare or school shootings, So if Denmark allows Greenland to hold some sort of referendum, they're either going to vote for independence or they're going to vote to stay with Denmark so that they have some sort of protection from the European Union. Obviously, America invading Greenland and Panama would not only be fascist and unconscionable, but also really fucking stupid. I mean, an invasion of Greenland would probably bring America's relationship with Europe to the brink, and be pretty unpopular at home, and for what? So America can build military bases and naval bases in Greenland? Because we didn't have enough military bases already. Just one more military base. That'll bring the cost of eggs down. Even if these naval bases and waters were super necessary to maintain America's hegemonic power of national security, you could just negotiate with Greenland to build military bases there. Like you did in 98 other fucking countries. What is Greenland gonna do? And no, just for the record, China does not fucking control the Panama Canal. But of course, you cannot reason with fascists, because fascism is not a reasonable ideology. It is an ideology built around nationalistic fervor, greed, fear-mongering, hatred, and the maintenance of power at all costs. Fascism is born from the dying breaths of capitalism, and as such it is an ideology of desperation. And desperation leads many to do irrational things. Trump also said he would be willing to use economic measures to make Canada a part of the United States.
Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force. Because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like.
I can say for sure that this is not gonna fucking happen. Why? Well, there are a million reasons why that would be stupid and impractical. One of them being that the addition of over 100 million people to the United States of America would shift the demographics of the average American voter far enough to the left that no Republican would ever win the presidency ever again. And progressives would absolutely crush the Democratic Party establishment. So unless the ruling class wakes up one morning and decides that we should have universal health care and mandatory red flag laws, they're not going to let Canada be annexed. This is going to be a long fucking 4 years, dude. Also, Justin Trudeau had the most Canadian response ever to this.
The day after Justin Trudeau announced he would step down, he used social media to fire back, writing, "There isn't a snowball's chance in hell that Canada would become part of the United States."
Stop it! He threatened to take over your country. The least you could do is sound a little more intimidating. I mean, I know they're Canadians, so they don't really have it in them, but like, a snowball's chance in hell? What an unserious country. More disturbingly, Trump said that all hell would break loose in Gaza if Hamas didn't release the hostages before his inauguration. Now, obviously, this statement would imply that all hell has not already broken loose in Gaza, but the staggering death toll of 186,000 people and counting in Gaza and 75,000 tons of explosives dropped on the Gaza Strip would suggest otherwise. His statement also implies that Hamas is somehow the obstacle to the hostages being released, despite Hamas having offered countless times at this point to return all the hostages in exchange for a ceasefire, which the Israeli government has refused every single time. I just wonder what Trump thinks he can do to make all hell break loose in Gaza. Nuke the Gaza Strip? Yeah, that'll bring the hostages back. America's war machine and Israel's apartheid government have already taken everything from these people. It's so fucking disgusting how little regard for human life these decrepit corpses in office have. Regardless, it's still a really alarming statement because, unfortunately, I'm sure the Trump administration will have plenty of ways of making this act of genocide even worse. In case you haven't somehow realized at this point, none of this fascist bile is going to make life for people in America any easier. In fact, it can quite literally only make things worse. I mean, things like declaring an all-out tariff war on Canada, one of the US's biggest trading partners, is only going to jack prices even higher. Declaring war on Panama would only increase the amount of refugees trying to seek shelter in America, and thus the amount of illegal immigration. But, as I said, fascism isn't a reasonable ideology. There is no sense in it. It's built out of desperation and fear. Anyway, that's all I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching, and please consider checking out Operation Olive Branch linked in the description below. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider subscribing, liking, and commenting. It's super helpful for the algorithm and lets me know if you want to see more of this kind of thing. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.